Hey guys, welcome to my channel. We are reading Open Book by Jessica Simpson. We are on chapter 27, and then we are also going to do chapter 28. 28 is the last chapter, so I'm just going to start reading. I'm not going to read the acknowledgements, though, so you guys can read that your guys' selves. So. Cool. Chapter 27. But now I see. November 2017. Twice a week, my therapist and I sat across from each other in our study, exorcising demons. My kids were at school, and Eric would busy himself to give me space. I told her the stories that I've shared with you, and in the beginning, I could rattle off the facts of things that happened. Standing outside of the girl next door as she went through the experiences, eventually I could examine that girl's feelings closely enough to better understand them and how they informed her choices. With work, that girl and I were one again, and I allowed myself to feel the traumas I'd been through. The sessions left me scooped out, and my kids got used to me being extra huggy on certain days. Not just needing the sureness of them, but valuing it. Any homework she gave me, I wanted an A+++. So when my therapist prescribed me antidepressants, I took it right away. But I didn't like how it made me feel and went off it understanding her supervision. I sensed that for me, I needed to work to figure out the roots of my problems, and they weren't chemical. I think it's situational depression, I told Eric on one of our post-therapy walk-ins about the neighborhood. It was just a long situation. Without alcohol, the clarity I had feared turned out to be a continued gift. When I was drinking, I had been confused by how I was going to juggle work and parenting, because it was exhausting, the way I would drink. It took times away from real life. Now I had room for so many wonderful moments that I would have missed, either because of the carelessness with which I treated my body, take a second, or because I was too numb to appreciate them. I took mental snapshots to keep in my heart. Sober for the first time ever in my studio and seeing Maxwell grab a guitar. Ace in pajamas, he puts on himself, proudly putting a sticker on his bedtime chart. My husband and I rediscovering each other, feeling the same gratitude over finding each other that we had when we first met. That my husband stopped drinking with me was powerfully romantic. Even if Hallmark doesn't have a card for it, or maybe they do. It saved our marriage, or at least saved us from the stupid fights that didn't need to happen. Things said that didn't deserve to be said because it was the alcohol talking, not the heart. I was sober and I was feeling. This was what it felt like to be living. This is what I was running away from. I began to open up to people and came out of hiding mode. One of the first tests was a girls' night out at a restaurant. I think we were all nervous about how we were going to handle me not drinking when we were all together. The first minutes were strange. Everyone could read how anxious I was. Then the waiter came over with the wine list. They all started to say it at once. "I'll have water." I cried happy tears. And just like my birthday, they each told me how grateful they were that I saved myself. Still, I dreaded hosting Thanksgiving and Christmas, unsure that I could handle the holiday sober. I was so happy my father had beaten that bout of cancer. Still, seeing my parents together but apart would be like surgery with no anesthesia. Once again, there was no alcohol in the house, so I didn't know what I could do. Instead, at each gathering, I watched them be careful of each other, still doing the dance of trying to avoid prolonged contact, but doing so in a respectful way. It was you, Jess, I thought. They were more... Sorry, guys. More over each other than I was over them being apart. It was me who needed to catch up. I collected days sober along with all these new memories. When I hit 90 days, I went right into the studio to write a new song, Heartbeat. Came out so easy, and I finally felt unblocked. I could put words to feelings again and make them mean something for other people. That was what would matter now, and my prayer was constant. Lord, use me. I'd been selfish with my time and careless with my life. Now I wanted to give back and have a life of purpose again. In my life, I want to be a role model for people, especially my children. They have to know that they can always count on me. I am so grateful that I stopped in time and resented the forces that were carrying me away from them. I made plans with my friend Coco, whose husband is in the service, to do something to help military families. In April, to honor the month of the military children, we went to a Dillard's in Nashville to host a day of pampering for Army wives and daughters from Fort Campbell, right on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. We gave them all hair and makeup services, and I got to style each one in our spring 2008 line of our girls' line. I brought Eric along, and even though he was right there with me, I kept retelling him all the stories women shared about their families had gone through. He was looking at me differently. He'd seen me, the real me he remembered, back in action. But sometimes I still threw him. The following month, I announced that I wanted to take our children to Disneyland. Are you kidding me? Asked Eric. He is not an amusement park kind of guy. He also knew that I'd been thinking a lot about my failed Mickey Mouse Club audition and all the times I worked grad nights watching kids my age go off to live normal lives. Why would you want to go back there? It will be part of my healing, I said, with a completely straight expression. I need to face my demons. He gave me a look of seriously. Is she okay? And then I let myself laugh. I think the kiddos will love it. We got in late in the afternoon and planned to do the park the next day. We were in the pool in the hotel, and this middle-aged woman came up to me. She was frantic. "Oh my God, Britney Spears," she yelled in the Midwestern accent. "I love you so much." My kids were in the pool, staring at the scene. I was like, of course this would happen to me. Britney steals this Disney moment right there in front of my kids. "Ma'am," I said calmly, "I am sorry, but I'm not Britney Spears." "Yes, you are," she said. "We are taking a picture, but I swear I'm not." She already had her face next to mine, her arm outstretched to keep a good selfie with Britney. I was not about to say I'm Jessica Simpson, so I smiled and laughed about it for the rest of the night. The next day I wore a vintage Mickey Mouse shirt they gave us the first day tryouts in Dallas. I brought Ashley along, just like I had done back then, and she brought her 2 kids. I wore Minnie Mouse ears and kept them on the whole time. My excitement had a lot of people looking at me, and instead of shrieking, I smiled and said hi to everyone, hugging characters along the way. Eric had never seen this side of me, and I was the most over oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I forgot that word. A Disney mom there ever was. I think you're having more fun than the kids, Eric said. I had only gone in and out for work whenever I'd visit, so I had realized how much walking was involved. I'd worn heels, of course, sky-high platform heels, but by the end of the day, I had given in to buy some of those $20 Star Wars flip-flops from the little kiosk. As I was inside trying to decide between Princess Leia or Yoda, I heard a voice behind me. Oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed. I turned, and it was a woman from the pool. She was with a man, I guess was her husband, because they matched. I literally thought about this all night. She said, "Come closer. You're Jessica Simpson." I smiled, and she kept going. I prayed to God, me and my husband, we had to pray a lot, he said. That we would see you so I could apologize, she said. It's not a big deal. Jessica Simpson, she said solemnly. Can I have a picture with you? Only if you smile, I said. I handed her husband the phone and we took a picture. I hugged her goodbye and held the Yoda flip-flops. May the force be with you, I said. That night I was in such a good mood that at 10 o'clock I wasn't having any of the nerves that night time usually brought me. Our children were all in bed asleep, worn out by the day. Ashley and I were kids again, snuggling on a couch. Jessica, I don't want to make fun of you or anything, she said slowly, but you still have your ears on. I reached up to feel the mini ears, and smiled and took them off. I love you, Ash, I said, snuggling closer to her. I'm so glad you're here with me. Me too, she said. I thought back to how all those years ago we were each other's protectors in the night, me saving her from abuse, and after her keeping the demons in the dark away from me. I am so grateful for the bond we have. I stood backstage to the Pacific Alpha Theater, smoothing my dress and shuffling in my cowboy boots. It was August 9th, and Willie Nelson had invited me to perform with him at his OC Fest show. I talked to him about what I had been through, and I was so glad that my first time on stage in so many years would be with him. Maxwell and Ace, 6 and 5, had never even seen me perform. They were with Eric in the audience. I was so excited for them to see me. Oh, that's what Mommy's does? I imagine them realizing they played my Christmas album all summer. But this would be different. Willie and I were going to sing You Fool, a song I wrote with producer John Shanks after pouring my heart out to him about what my friendship with Willie has meant to me. It was a line I came up with in Maxwell's room, putting her to bed. She had stars on her ceiling, and I always told her I'd lasso them down for her. Backstage, I listened as Willie sang his song for the sold-out crowd. I cried a little through Always on My Mind, and dried my tears during the fun instrumental 20th Street Rag. We got to the real special treat coming up for y'all, he said. Our good buddy Jessica Simpson and I are going to sing a song together, and we'd like to get her out here today. I walked on stage shy at first, but all the cheers and Willie's smiling face made me realize I was home. As I started to sing our duet, You Fool, the cheers and whoops got louder, and I spotted Eric and the kids in front. I'll be that one true friend, Willie sang to me. You know you're stuck with me. I was so grateful to be in the moment. As the song ended, I said, thank you, Willie. I love you, Jess. I floated off stage. He closed the concert with a fast medley of Will the Circle Be Unbroken and I'll Fly Away, two songs that remain near and dear to my heart. They used to make me sad in the uncertain times in my life, but now they've made me happy because I'd found my forever in my husband and children. After the concert, Ace looked at me like he had no idea I was a superhero, and I picked him up to hug him. I love you so much, I said, and his eyes shined. Maxwell pampered me with questions. That's the man I listened to when I was a baby, she said. She asked. Yes, honey. And you said you'd lasso the stars just like you told me. Always, I said, hugging her, always. Eric hugged me, placing his hand on my stomach. I put my hand over his and smiled at him. We had a secret, one that had come as a happy surprise. When we found out what we'd been through made sense. We needed to clear the way for a new life. We were about to have a family of 5. Aww. Chapter 28. Birdie May. March 2019. I was so ready to have this baby girl. I had spent the last several therapy sessions talking about how I needed her out of me. I honestly couldn't think of anything else. She was laying on her side in me, and she was so big that they scheduled a C-section on March 19th, when my actual due date was April 15th. But first there had been a shock that at age 38, they considered this a geriatric pregnancy, which is the oldest you will ever feel. I was like, what? Really? It's just a box to check, said the nurse. It just means you're high risk. I chuckled. You are full of good news, I said. What else you got? Thoughts on my hair? We laughed and she told me not to worry. But this was kind of a pregnancy from hell. I wasn't being hospitalized for bronchitis. I had it 4 times. I was breaking a toilet seat, leaning back. At least I was really open about it. In January, the 10-year challenge was a big thing on Instagram, where you posted a 2009 photo next to a current one. I posted my old skinny legs next to the incredible swollen ankle. It was so sweet because I heard from many, many women who'd been through the same thing. The pregnancy was a crazy, painful journey, and you were with me the whole way. I spent a lot of nights on our study working on this book. Just you and my little girl. There you keep me company. So you are cordially invited to her arrival. The nurses and the doctors of Cedars-Sinai told me they'd never seen a bigger group of people in a birthing suite. In about 30 minutes, they'd wheel me in for the C-section. And there were about 20 people packed into the room. Friends and honorary family carrying on like it was a party. My friends were leaning back on my bed to take selfies with me, and my kids were peppering me with last-minute questions. Mom, how long is it going to take? Ace asked. About an hour, maybe. Is it through your belly button? Maxwell asked. I pointed lower. No, right about here, honey. So it's not down where you pee? No, but some mommies do that. It's all good. Someone suggested people write down their guesses on the weight of the baby, like it was a jar of jelly beans. I'm thinking 8 pounds, said Cece. Casey, oh my gosh. Everyone took one look at my belly and laughed. No way, said my mom. Yeah, much bigger, said my dad. I smiled at them, smoothing my hand over my belly. I looked at the room, Eric's parents, Ashley, and my second mom, Carol, all my girlfriends. My parents were each here with their significant others, and it was okay. All the stuff that would normally bother me just didn't. This was my new normal, and maybe that was okay after all. It was only awkward for the nurses. One of the veteran ones said she needed to take me to the bathroom, and as we moved, she whispered, "Can I get these people out of here?" It hadn't even occurred to me. Oh, yeah. I said, "Sure, okay," she yelled. Can we clear the room? Give Jessica a second before she gets sliced open and has her baby? You'd be a good bouncer, I said. They took me into an operating room. Eric had waited about 20 minutes before coming in because they do the spinal tap and epidural when you're by yourself. It was just me and my baby and the doctors that came in, scrubbed up in blue with their hands in the air. It looked like they raised their hands in prayer. Do you have a birth plan? One asked. I'm here, I said. Have you guys done this before? Are you going to eat your placenta? I laughed. Nope. I said, no, you can throw it out. There was so much going on, and I was numb from the chest down. I could kind of lift my arms, but I was thinking, don't fall off. What kind of music do you want? My mind went blank. Whatever you all want to listen to, that makes this go by, that's great. I said, just get her out. So they put the Grey's Anatomy soundtrack and queued up How to Save a Life. Oof. Okay, we're ready, the doctor said. But Eric is not, I said. Don't forget my husband. Oh, he's getting scrubbed up, the nurse said. Just then he came in. Babe, I'm here. They asked about the music, and I forgot to say Zemplin. He held my hand, and I started to cry. I just wanted her to be okay after everything we'd been through. After the incision, I felt a hard tug, and she was out. Why isn't she crying? Oh my gosh. It was not even a full second. But the second was the longest moment of my life. She started to yell, and I don't think I've ever heard her cried more cleansing tears. Brady Mae Johnson was named for my father's mother, Bertie. And in the tribute to songs that have carried me through my life, his eye is on the sparrow and Dolly Parton's Little Sparrow. I don't know what it means for her life, but I know she gave me the strength to go back on stage and write this book. Bertie entered this lucky world weighing 10 pounds. Wow. 10 pounds. 10 pounds, 13 ounces. No one guessed her weight high enough, but Eric's dad came the closest, so he won. Maxwell was not happy that Bertie was bigger by a pound than when she was born. But she was so excited to see that they had the same stork by birthmark in the same place, right between their eyes. Immediately, it was like, this is my sister, and this is our thing. Ace has smaller ones, and not in the same place as theirs, but he can brag that he has 5 of them. You only see them when the kids get upset. I always called them angel kisses, because a stork bite sounds pretty aggressive in my opinion. We took Bertie home, our family of 5 all together at last. Bertie was welcomed by so many people, but one of the best presents was packaged of photos I received from Casa Hagar, Ilium, Mama Lupus's orphanage. They sent us a letter welcoming Bertie, along with tons of pictures of the kids having fun and learning at school. They had a same spark of joy that my children have, and seeing that was one of the best gifts Bertie and I received. I'm writing to you in the thick of the summer. Now we spent the day out, back with the kids, and it was Bertie's first time in the pool. She loved the water, and the kids were excited to be able to take turns carrying their little sister. I watched her in the water, wondering if she would take to it like her brothers and sisters. She did. Her dimple smiled growing as she splashed her hands in what must have seemed like a giant bathtub. I had fallen more in love with my family watching them love our birdie. She came at just the right time for us. Sweet Ace is so sweet with her always wanting to hold her. He is so intuitive, knowing so much about people without even spending a lot of time with them. He will know his sister so well and always look after their hearts. Maxwell is not the junior diaper changer I thought she would be, but she loves her little sister so much. The other day I caught her singing to Birdie about Peter Rabbit. The baby had just woken up from a nap. I stood in the doorway listening to my heart and ready to burst. I laugh because they all need me, and poor Eric, we all need him. I'm so happy not to be pregnant anymore, that I still just lie on his chest and breathe these big sighs of relief. When I am with him, wherever we and I feel at home, when I hold his hand, I feel like I could just step forward into the future with grace and strength. Music is part of that journey again. Teresa, who helped protect me as an artist all those years ago, is back in my life. I am so proud of the work we are doing together. Finding peace with total quiet is possible, but I do still struggle with insomnia. All my fears and doubts do come once everyone is asleep and there is nobody to distract me. When thoughts come, I learn that they're okay. I cannot say I have had friends with me, but lying in bed, I can at least shake my hands with them now. Like, okay, I see you, I'm aware of you, and now you be aware of me. Good night. I had been letting those closest to me read passages from this book. I was most scared to show my father, just as I was scared to play him music on the Halloween that changed my life. He wrote me yesterday, I wish I could have held you more in so many of those dark hours, he said. Please forgive me for being a better manager than a father. I told him he was the best father I could ever had. I wouldn't change any moment. It's true, I wouldn't change a single thing about my story because I finally love who I am, and I can forgive who I was. I knew that I would be ending this book tonight, and for a long time I feared this very moment. There's a permanence to getting your thoughts down that can feel like the last testament. The reason I started journaling at 15 years old was because we lost my cousin Sarah, and she left behind her diaries. I worried that writing a book represented the end of something. Now I see my life is just beginning. I have a better footing now for retracing the steps that got me here. I have thought of you so much as I wrote this book, wanting to give you things to carry on your own journey. Every night I go to bed next to the angel figurine given to me in Iraq. It comforts me, but also calls me to be more. I wanted this book to be something like that for you, and now that it's ending, these parting words seem so important. So I got out all my journals tonight and piled them on the table next to me for inspiration. I pulled one out at random and seen what message I was supposed to leave you with. I opened the page to this. Sometimes we are also afraid to be honest with ourselves because we know that honesty will lead to somewhere. I wrote this 10 years ago. Can fear walk us to something better? I can say now that the answer is yes. I knew that then too, but I still had to phrase it as a question because I wasn't ready. I had to walk through my fear to be here writing to you about the painful moments in my life. Pain is where all the tools are. I said to my therapist the other day, if you're someone who has a lot of tools, I'm sorry, but I am also hopeful for you. You have so much to work with. I think it's important, whatever your situation, to turn inward. So often we turn away from ourselves and just numb our feelings to get through the day. You can do that with anything, not just with alcohol. It's so easy to overwhelm yourself with too much to do in a day where you never have enough time for yourself. We need to own our weaknesses, our hurt, our pain, and say it out loud so that we can name what is coming up and why. You deserve it. You deserve to feel the heartbreak and the pain so that once and for all, you stop holding yourself back from feeling whatever it is you've tried to mask. No, it's not easy, but you are worth the work. And if you do not have a stable presence in your life, take the time you need to become that stable presence for yourself. To find the stillness within you, no matter what storm you are in. Leaving you now, I feel the way I do seeing my children off to school. I start to sputter all these things to them at the door. Do you have your water bottle? Here, let me straighten your collar. Remember to be kind. Listen to your teachers. Sit with someone lonely. Make good choices. And most important, I love you. Wow. That book, just finished that book. Open Book by Jessica Simpson, guys. My opinion about this book, I loved it. I loved how she can share everything that she has gone through, you know. Some people don't know what people go through. And I just feel like everyone needs to at least read a book about somebody or write down something, you know, what you're going through, because nobody really knows until you write a book. That's a quote from me, all right? Open Book by Jessica Simpson. I love it. Like, it's a great book to read. And yeah, I hope she sees these videos I make, maybe, but I love this book. Like, she did really great. But I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you guys for listening.